Count Metternich.
Prince Berthier.
Don't let him make you forget that Europe needs peace.
Count Metternich, sire.
Well, Metternich, how is your master, my father-in-law?
The Emperor Francis is in the best of health, Your Majesty.
Oh, convey to him my most affectionate greetings.
I shall do so, Your Majesty.
And tell him that his daughter, the Empress Marie-Louise, and his grandson, the King of Rome, are also in the best of health.
He will be glad to know that, Your Majesty.
Tell him that Louise is a good wife and a good Frenchwoman. I have absolute trust in her.
I'm sure she deserves it.
As I wish I had in her father.
Your Majesty, the Emperor of Austria is not a Frenchman.
Does he want war with me, then? Does he?
No, Your Majesty.
You mean he does not want it, but it will happen. So be it. I've knocked him off his throne 3 times already.
May I put my Emperor's view more positively?
If you can.
He wishes for a lasting peace in Europe.
I have always striven for a lasting peace.
Nevertheless, you are at war with Russia, with Prussia, with England.
I smashed the Prussian army at Lutzen. I have thrown the Russians back at Bautzen. 2 great victories. Does Austria want to take its turn?
While we speak of these victories, may I express my regrets at the death of Marshal York?
York was a soldier. Soldiers get killed.
And also at the death of so many Frenchmen.
Metternich, you do not understand war. We won. Winning is the only thing that matters.
My Emperor hopes for a peace not achieved by victories, but by mediation.
With Austria as mediator, peace on terms dictated by Austria.
You know the terms, Your Majesty.
I give up the whole of Germany. I give up Poland.
Yes.
What do I get in return?
Peace.
I am the guardian of the sacred interests of France. How could I accept terms which would be an outrage committed on my people and on my army? The greatest army that has ever existed!
Your Majesty, your army was lost in Russia.
I lost. Soldiers killed not by the Russians but by the snow. 300,000 men.
I'm told you lost 500,000.
I still have the strongest fighting force in the world. I've more than made up my losses.
I've seen your new recruits, Your Majesty. They're babies.
Young men who fight like men.
I'm told they're called the Marie-Louises.
Metternich, you do not understand what a soldier is, nor what I am. Your sovereigns, the 17th generation, can be defeated 20 times and still go back to their royal palaces. I am the 1st generation. My reign will not outlast the day when I cease to be strong and therefore cease to be feared. And here I have the advantage of your old monarchs. I was brought up on a battlefield knowing that soldiers are killed in battle. So long as I win the victory, so long as I am still strong, still feared, I do not concern myself much about the death of 1,000,000 men.
May I ask for the doors and windows to be opened, so that you may repeat those words to your army.
Metternich, you and your master saved yourselves from me by giving me Marie-Louise. Was I a fool to marry her? Did I make a mistake? I wanted to join the new with the old. I wanted to unite the best of your Gothic traditions with the best of my modern ideas. I wanted to create a new Europe.
Since you ask my opinion, yes, Napoleon the Conqueror made a mistake.
I see the results of it now. For the first time in my life, I am not offering terms, but being offered them.
Does Your Majesty accept the terms?
Sooner than accept, I will bury the world beneath my ruins.
This is not the end, but it is the beginning of the end. What do you think he should do? My best advice would be that he should gallantly die on the next convenient battlefield. And peace would be signed within 24 hours.
The Emperor bears a charmed life on the battlefield.
Then France is out of luck.
Above all, beware of Talleyrand. He has only one principle: to be on the winning side.
Do you doubt we will be the winning side?
I'm surrounded by traitors and cowards. But I can trust you.
I'm glad you realize that.
You're a king because you're my brother. So you'll do your best for the Bonapartes.
Shall I get rid of Talleyrand?
Get rid?
Put him in prison? Have him shot?
No. It would make him seem too important.
It's simply a question of what is politically expedient.
Talleyrand, what are you doing here?
Sire, I am one of the grand dignitaries of your empire.
I know what you're plotting. Have a care. I have made my arrangements. If ever I am likely to die, you will die first.
Sire, I was anxious enough for your continued good health without this warning.
There. That's going well. Everything is going well. Now, you're not to worry.
I love you so much when you're away, I worry about every little thing.
But not about whether I win or lose.
I know you will always win.
Always.
Whether you're warm enough or cool enough, if you have nice things to eat.
Darling, even on a battlefield, an emperor does reasonably well.
I don't know what it's like on a battlefield.
There's no place for the youngest and most beautiful empress in the world.
Please don't treat me like a child.
Do I?
Youngest.
Wife, mother, ruler of France while I'm away.
You'll still be in France?
Yes, until I drive the Austrians and the English and the Prussians and the Russians out of France. Then in Berlin, in Vienna, dictating terms to your dear father, Francis. Meanwhile, you're in charge. You will sit here at my desk.
What will I have to do?
Everything.
How should I know if I should do it?
I shall be sending orders all the time to my dear brother Joseph, and he will know what I want done.
Yes.
Don't you like Joseph?
Yes, he's very nice.
But
I like Murat better. Oh, I would have liked it better with Murat.
Murat is no longer with me.
Oh, yes, I know he's not here.
Murat has sold himself to Austria in the hope of keeping his throne.
Murat is against you now?
Murat, without me at his back, is quite the worst general.
I'm so sorry about Murat.
Murat doesn't matter. There's no reason to be upset.
And Caroline, too.
Caroline doesn't matter.
They must be a disappointment to you.
I think nothing of people. How can I be disappointed?
My darling, it's just that you don't deserve to have people behave badly to you. You deserve happiness. You deserve it so much.
You do love me.
On the first day I met you. On the first night.
Ah, the first night.
And you love me.
Yes.
I know you do. You saved my life.
Did I?
When my baby was going to be born, they wanted to kill me for the sake of the baby. But you said, save the mother.
Darling, in a moment of crisis, my mind works very quickly. I thought to myself, if it's a girl, it's no use to me. And I thought, well, even if it's a boy, better to save the mother. She's had one boy, she can have another.
I don't believe you.
It's true. These thoughts went through my mind in the 100th part of a second.
You saved me because you loved me.
Yes, I suppose so.
I should like to have another one.
Oh, so should I.
Make me pregnant again before you go.
Darling, I'm leaving in an hour from now.
No is enough.
And this is not a good moment for you to become pregnant.
Why not?
You have to rule France for me. Oh, and you must write to your father.
I do. He doesn't reply.
Well, write to him, complaining that he should love you better. Tell him how much you love me.
I love you more than all the world. I pray for nothing but peace, because then you will stay with me for always.
Tell him that. But don't tell him you're praying for peace.
Shouldn't I?
He might think I want peace.
Don't you?
My peace, not his.
I only meant I want us to live happily ever after.
We shall, I promise.
And if the weather is cold, you must wrap up warmly and not let yourself get wet. And if there is anything wrong with you at all, you must go to bed immediately until you are well.
I shall obey your orders.
When shall I see you again?
Darling, that is God's secret. My troops! Those fools in Paris still think I've got an army. Go back and tell them I need 200,000 recruits.
What age, sire?
Oh, I care what age they are, so long as they have one finger to pull the trigger.
The Duke of Vicenzo, sir.
Dracula. Well, what do the enemy have to say to me?
Sire, they offer a peace treaty.
What sort of peace treaty?
The frontiers that France had 20 years ago.
The frontiers France had before me?
The expression Count Metternich used was restoring the natural boundaries of France.
My France had no boundaries. An emperor without an empire.
No Germans. No Italians. No Spaniards, no Dutch, no Poles. You would still be what your title calls you, Emperor of the French. Isn't that enough?
Is it?
It's more than most men have.
Berthier, I made you a prince, which is more than most men are. But you're still nothing more than my chief of staff.
Sire, as your chief of staff, since you first commanded an army, I've given you my advice as to what can be done and what can't. I advise you to make peace.
There is only one moment to make peace after a victory.
What victory? How?
Metternich is a trickster. He made this offer to have me refuse it, so that he could publish my refusal. Look, Napoleon still wants war. He's trying to separate me from my people. He doesn't know what a Frenchman is when the enemy are on French soil. And the Austrians, and the Prussians, and the English, and the Tsar, these Cossacks pillaging and burning. Let them do their worst. The worse it is, the better for me. When a peasant has his cow killed and his cottage burned, there's nothing left for him to do but to pick up his gun and fight. It will be the last great battle. The battle for France. And we shall win it. Then we shall make peace. When the Tsar and Metternich beg me for peace. On my terms, not on theirs!
Sire, the French have come to believe that they have fought for you long enough.
Have you, Berthier?
Yes. Take the offer.
No.
Your Majesty, if I may humbly offer my opinion...
Her Majesty does not listen to enemy agents.
Your Majesty, have I your permission to speak?
Yes.
We are told that the invading armies will enter Paris within 2 or 3 days, and that therefore Your Majesty and the King of Rome must be conveyed from Paris to a place of safety. My opinion is briefly stated. If your Majesty leaves Paris, it will appear to be not prudence, but flight. The French will believe that all is lost, and the Allies will assume that the throne of France has been declared vacant. But if your Majesty stays in Paris, as Empress and Regent of this realm, then the prestige of the throne is undiminished, and there will still be a reasonable hope of saving the dynasty and the empire. To stay is to continue to reign. To go is, in effect, to abdicate.
I think I agree with Monsieur Talleyrand.
I think the majority of the council agrees with Monsieur Talleyrand.
How splendid. Shall we take a vote?
Shall we?
I am concerned not with opinions, but with instructions. From a letter written to me by the Emperor 3 weeks ago. If Talleyrand suggests keeping the Empress in Paris in the event of a withdrawal of our troops, then you can be sure that he is practicing treason.
Oh. I was aware of his hatred, but not of its blindness.
From a letter written to me by the Emperor 10 days ago. You must do your utmost to prevent the Empress and the King of Rome from falling into the hands of the enemy. I would rather see them with their throats cut than carried off as captives to Vienna. There can be no vote. The Emperor has given his orders. It is impossible to disobey them.
Yes.
The meeting is over. The Empress leaves Paris tomorrow.
I think you are quite right. But I must obey the Emperor. Then he can't blame me.
It is not your Majesty who will be blamed.
The Emperor has also ordered that all grand dignitaries, including yourself, are to accompany the Empress.
Nothing could give me greater pleasure.
Nothing?
And that is how a game can be lost, by throwing away all the good cards. Tomorrow will see the end of the Empire. The Emperor himself has written its death warrant.
A provisional government headed by whom?
Talleyrand, sire.
Talleyrand, of course. And my wife, my son. Well, my son, what is his by right? I imagine not.
Sire, the Tsar insists that your abdication must be definitive and absolute.
The Tsar, prompted by Talleyrand.
Yes, sire.
So they both have their revenge. A fortnight ago, in that battle at Arcis-sur-Aube, I did my best to get myself killed. I rode my horse straight at a smoldering shell. Burst without touching me. I was condemned to live. The Allied powers, having proclaimed that the Emperor Napoleon is the sole obstacle to peace in Europe, the Emperor Napoleon declares that he renounces for himself and for his heirs the throne of France. And all the world will say is, oof.
At first I pitied myself. Now I think myself fortunate. An enormous... His handwriting is as bad as ever. An enormous weight has been lifted from my mind. My dearest Josephine, resign yourself to fate as I am doing, but please keep the remembrance of one who has never forgotten you and will never forget you. There at the bottom, they have given me the island of Elba. Elba. Well, is it a kingdom? I suppose he'll still be a king. Oh, poor Napoleon. Should I join him there, do you think? Yes. I wondered. But I must take care of you and Eugène. I must make sure that you are properly treated. So much depends on talking to the right person at the right moment. Oh, I am going to be so busy. I've had the nicest messages already from Talleyrand and all our friends in the new government, and from Metternich and from the Tsar. The Tsar's letter was particularly charming. He's coming to call this afternoon.
Coming here?
Yes.
How dare he?
Hortense, there are no enemies now, only people who can help us. My darling, you must remember I have lived through difficult times and I don't want them to happen again.
They must do better for Louise than that. Parma is an insignificant little duchy not fit for the wife of an emperor. Go back to Paris and tell them again. They must give her Tuscany.
Sire, I am not in a position to use the word must.
They must see that Tuscany would be the only convenient place. Elba is off the coast of Tuscany.
Sire, that is the great argument against it.
Against it?
It is Metternich's design to separate you from your wife and son by the greatest possible distance.
Louise writes to me every day to tell me that she will not be separated from me.
Then I beg you, sire, to bring her here before the Allies can stop her. Once you are together, you can be separated only by force, and not even Metternich would dare to do that.
She must wait in Rambouillet to see her father.
Why Rambouillet? Why shouldn't her father come here?
I have no wish to meet a victorious emperor.
Sire, may I ask with the greatest respect, have you ordered the Empress to come here? Have you ordered her to accompany you to Elba?
I have not ordered her. I don't need to.
Sire, the Empress will obey whichever voice gives her the firmest orders.
I am at the end of my career. I can confine myself to an island 16 miles by 10 because I've lived my life. Louise is young. She still needs pleasures and playthings. That is why she must persuade her father to give her Tuscany. She could have her court there. She could spend a great part of her year there. From time to time, she could come to see me in Elba. She would see me with all the more pleasure if she didn't have to see me every day. A husband less and less capable of being a husband every night.
Papa, why won't you let me be happy?
My dear, I will do anything that will contribute to your happiness.
And give me anything?
Gladly.
Give me Tuscany, so that I can be close to Napoleon and see him whenever I please.
I have an empire entrusted to me by God. I do not parcel it out to satisfy the whim of a defeated revolutionary general.
Napoleon is an emperor.
He called himself an emperor for a time.
You mustn't be cruel to him.
When I remember how he has treated the crowned heads of Europe, including myself, I must think that we are being remarkably kind.
By giving him Elba, a horrible little island where nobody wants to go.
Shall I tell you how many hereditary rulers he turned out of their kingdoms, with nowhere to go?
I don't care. I love him.
It is a wife's duty to love her husband.
Yes.
I am only pointing out that we are merciful in allowing him to live.
How can you say that? He is a great man. The greatest man in the world.
He has abdicated that position.
Why did you turn against him? He would still be emperor if you hadn't turned against him.
I did not turn. I was always against him.
Then why did you make me marry him?
At that moment, I could not afford to show that I was against him.
So you should be grateful to me.
It is a daughter's duty to help her father protect his throne.
Oh, Napoleon would not have taken your throne.
For himself or one of his family. He took a great many thrones and always wanted more. He wanted every throne in the world. An insatiable madman.
The madman's son is your grandson.
I am aware of what is due to him as my grandchild. He will be an Austrian prince with a suitable title, and he will succeed you as Duke of Parma.
I'm not going to go to Parma.
Whether you go there or not, I have given you Parma.
I'm going to join Napoleon at Fontainebleau, wherever he tells me. And then I'm going with him to Elba.
That horrible little island?
You said yourself, it's a wife's duty to love her husband and be with him.
I am anxious for your health.
I'll be well again once I'm with Napoleon.
In Elba? Oh, the climate there is not good for your physical type.
Dr. Covisar thinks I ought to take a cure to aches or somewhere like that before I actually go to Elba.
Covisar?
He will tell you himself. Dr. Covisar.
Your Majesty, sire.
Please tell my father what is wrong with my health.
Yes, Your Majesty.
You must tell him the truth.
I shall, Your Majesty.
It seems to me that my daughter's health has deteriorated since I saw her last.
Indeed, sire, it has given me cause for alarm. She is suffering from frequent spasms affecting the chest and causing a shortage of breath accompanied by disturbing expectoration.
Spots. When I have the fever, I have wet spots all over me.
In her youth, my daughter was affected rather similarly by any deep nervous disturbance.
Indeed, sire, I would say that Her Majesty's illness has been caused by...
Napoleon's going away.
And by the daily evolution of recent events.
Yes.
You will understand, Doctor, that my daughter's health is of paramount importance in deciding where she should go next and what she should do next.
I understand, sire.
What do you recommend for her?
Absolute rest and tranquility.
Such as she would find with her family in Vienna.
Papa!
Exactly, sire.
Covisar!
Your Majesty, I must tell the truth.
And what would be the best climate for her? Temperate or the hot sun of, shall we say, Elba?
Sire, the hot sun of Elba would kill her as surely as a bullet in her heart.
Thank you for your opinion, Doctor.
Sire. Your Majesty.
I am your father. I have a duty towards you. I do not propose to let you die.
The men are drawn up on parade, sire.
I wish Berthier had stayed till the end. All the others are gone. Dead or traitors. Berthier could have stayed here till today. It would have been a sign of friendship.
Sire, he is an old man and a sick man.
Well enough to go to Paris and hand over my army. Swear allegiance to the new regime.
He has a wife and children, sire.
And a title and a great estate. Yes, they impose a duty on him, too. But I would have liked him by my side when I spoke to the old guard for the last time.
The men are ready, sire.
Well, you are coming with me to Elba. Thank you for that, Bertrand.
Sire, I shall be with you as long as you have need of me.
Is my carriage ready? My position on the parade ground?
Yes, sire. May I take it there is no longer any hope of the Empress?
Her father is taking her to Vienna, so that the Austrian people can stare at the wife of a defeated conqueror. Tell my driver that after my speech, the ensign will march forward with the standard. I shall kiss it. I shall say goodbye. Keep me in your memory. I shall turn, step into the carriage, and drive off at a gallop.
I'm so delighted that I shan't have to leave my maison. It's more than my home. It's my life.
Nothing will disturb your happiness here.
Oh, I shall have to economize. How I wish Napoleon were here. He spent most of his time telling me how to economize. Monsieur Metternich.
Your Majesty.
Monsieur Talleyrand.
Your Majesty.
How very kind. Am I a majesty still?
There's no one who would dare to think otherwise. Ah, the Empress Josephine is at her most enchanting.
Yes, she and I are in our element, recreating the good old days before the Revolution.
How old would you say she is now?
Oh, as always, whatever age she cares to admit. She has the great quality of all great ladies. She tells a lie with dazzling sincerity.
I should have gone.
Berthier, we are released from our vows.
I need one stick in my throat.
You're like my mother and myself. We shall always have Napoleon in our hearts.
Pig-headed slave driver, a bully. I'd give both my arms to be bullied by him again.
Dear Berthier.
Your Majesty.
Eugène, don't.
Dearest Mamma.
I shall speak to the Tsar when he arrives. The Tsar is being such a good friend.
Yes, she is certainly the better of the two empresses.
It needed an Austrian to say that. I hear the second empress is unwell.
The second empress is suffering from hypochondria, with a doctor who encourages her to do so, since he himself has not the slightest desire to go to Elba.
Will the second empress's health never be strong enough to allow her to join her husband?
Never.
Mamma, the Tsar is here. Excuse me, Berthier. We will speak again in a moment. My dear Alexander, how lovely to see you again.
My dear Josephine.
I dined at the Tuileries with the new court last night. The dinner lasted 4 hours. The only pleasure they seemed to find was in their food. And I thought to myself, once, not long ago, a great man lived here.
I could never make Napoleon sit at table for more than 20 minutes. The only thing that mattered to him was he had to get back to his work.
I thought 7 years ago at Tilsit that he and I had become friends for life. We were together for days on end there, the two of us, talking of everything under the sun. We rebuilt the world together. A great pity our friendship did not last.
You should have given him one of your sisters as his second wife.
He should have stayed with his first wife and made your son Eugène his successor.
Ah, you don't know the Corsicans. It had to be a real Bonaparte.
Shall we theorize? If he had not divorced you...
He would still have wanted to conquer the world, and I could never have stopped him. So I would be in Elba with him now.
Do you wish that you were in Elba with him?
For a time, he loved me very much above everything, and I loved him only a little. And after that time, I loved him very much above everything. But I'd come to be too old for what he wanted. Yes. I think I wish I were in Elba with him. We could have grown old together. I would have liked that.
Oh, my dear Josephine, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I brought you out here in the cold air with no cloak, no shawl.
The fault of my vanity. These days I look my best by moonlight.
Let me take you in immediately.
Yes, there will be dancing soon. You and I are to open the dance.
It was silly of me not to wear my shawl. My vanity. People have always admired my shoulders. I think the Tsar admired them. Oh, I've spoken to the Tsar about you, Eugène. He said he'll do the best he can for you. What date is it today? Is it the 22nd?
Yes, Mamma.
I must get up. The King of Prussia is coming to dinner.
You must stay in bed, Mamma.
No, the King of Prussia can be very useful to us.
I will receive the King of Prussia for you, Mamma.
No, I must talk to him.
Mamma.
My darlings, I must. You don't remember what it's like to be poor. Hortense, will you tell my ladies-in-waiting I am going to get up now?
You are ill, Mamma.
It is only a chill. I shall put on a warm dress. I shall cover my shoulders. Hortense, will you please do as I tell you? I am an empress. I still have my title. An empress must be there to receive her guests.
The Tsar has sent his chief physician to see you, Mamma.
How very, very kind of the Tsar. The Tsar has behaved so well to us.
May he see you now, Mamma?
In a moment. Did the Tsar call himself?
He hopes to be able to call tomorrow, Mamma.
He may have something to tell you. About Milan.
You mustn't worry about me, Mamma.
Is it the 27th?
Yes.
Have I had a letter from Napoleon? He's been in Elba for 3 weeks.
The post from Elba takes a long time, Mamma.
If I had been his wife still, I would be in Elba with him now. And no one could have stopped me. She doesn't love him as I do.
And he loves you best, Mamma.
We were married for Eugène.
Mamma?
If I should die,
Mamma.
now, you must put on my tombstone that I am 45.
What
did she say?
Bonaparte.
Elba. Bonaparte. Elba.
Should have died at Waterloo. No, I should have won! You have to win! I judge men only by the result of their actions. I judge myself by the same rule. I was too sure of winning at Waterloo. Once I had 100,000 Frenchmen under my hand again, I did not doubt that I could reconquer the world. If I'd had Murat at the head of the cavalry, things might have gone the other way. There was a moment when the cavalry should have charged at Blucher's flank. The sort of charge that Murat's made 100 times for me. Without him, the cavalry did not do it. I had had my old army, if I'd had my old generals, if I'd had Berthier as my chief of staff.
Is it true that Berthier's dead?
Berthier, hearing of my return from Elba, thought himself too old and too ill to rejoin me, and in an agony of shame, threw himself from a window and smashed himself to pieces in the street. It's wrong to make excuses. Success justifies everything. Nothing can justify defeat.
You did a great and noble thing, coming back to lead the French in one last great battle.
Did I? I came back from Elba because I was not born to die of inactivity on a tiny island.
Napoleon, we must get away from here immediately.
Must?
The Prussian advance guard is already at Saint-Germain.
Who told you that?
There was a report.
Don't believe it.
Why not?
Because it isn't true.
It could be true. Why shouldn't it be true?
It could be true, but it isn't.
How do you know?
I have taken my master's degree in war. I know where the Prussian army was 4 days ago. I know how fast an army travels. It may be that a pair of Prussian scouts were sighted near Saint-Germain. If so, they were miles ahead of the main body. Do you understand that I understand these things?
Blucher has sworn he'll shoot you as soon as he catches you.
Whatever he has sworn, I am perfectly safe here for another 24 hours. Please tell Bertrand that I'm ready for lunch. I once asked Corvisart, how can two brothers be so completely different? He replied, it's a question of organisms. You are organized like that. If I was to fall head first from the top of Milan Cathedral, I would fall calmly, looking around to admire the view.
Napoleon.
Dear Marie, it is kind of you to come to say goodbye to me.
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow.
Wherever you go. May I come with you?
No, Marie.
I love you.
Yes.
You will need someone to be. If only your Polish wife.
Marie, I have become a solitary hermit. I no longer want the affection of another human being.
At the least you will need someone to cook for you. To mend your clothes.
Oh, I shall be a hermit with servants. Marie, tell me the truth.
Yes.
I imagine that you are able to sew a button Can you cook?
I can learn.
Marie, you are the only utterly faithful woman in the world.
Even if you do not want me or need me.
Will you obey me?
Yes.
You are young, beautiful. There is at least one man, a good man, who is madly in love with you. No, don't deny it. I know his name. And your husband is dead at last. I command you, marry again. I absolve you from your vow of faithfulness to me. I shall think the worse of you if you reject your real future. Romantic longing is all very well in stories. I'm a realist. Josephine. She was the most enchanting woman I've ever known. The most woman of all women.
Yes.
I never had any quarrel with her. Except about her debts, and I scolded her enough about those.
She was so generous.
In the sense that she would have invited the whole world to lunch.
She helped so many people who needed help.
Oh, yes. Putting her hand in my pocket. It didn't matter. I loved her. Well, she is dead, and I have done with love.
Sire.
Is it time to go?
Yes, sir.
By Hortense. Be happy here. Happier than she was, poor woman. Write to me.
Where will you be?
I have 2 frigates waiting for me at Rochefort. They will take me to America if the English don't catch me. My old problem, the English have their ships everywhere.
The English have said they will send you to an island in the South Atlantic.
My dear, I am a political refugee. The English will give me asylum. It's their tradition. If I can't get to America, then I shall settle in England. Be a country squire. Hunt foxes. Stand for Parliament. Become Prime Minister. What is it?
Some diamonds from a necklace sewn into a belt. In case you need them.
I shall send you a note for their value payable in 3 months' time.
No.
Unlike your mother, I do not have debts. Of no great intrinsic value, but a keepsake. It was a ring your mother gave me on our wedding day. I've worn it ever since. Goodbye. I must go. Go where? America? England? Or an island in the South Atlantic? Well, we shall see. I shall go and discover what is my destiny.